antibiotics are a whole family of drugs, and they're really interesting because what they do is they attack certain mechanisms in the bacterial cells. So the way bacterial cells work is slightly different to the way the cells in your body, the human cells, work. And antibiotics are really good because they attack processes which are only in the bacterial cells, which means they can kill bacterial cells and leave the cells of your body alone. The way they can do this is by either stopping the proteins being copied or stopping the cells replicating, so that then that gives your body a chance to fight off the infection. So you might need antibiotics if you've got a bacterial infection or if your doctor's diagnosed that you have a bacterial infection. Quite often these are diseases that end in the word itis, so stuff like tonsillitis, that sort of thing. And you'll get given antibiotics for a set amount of time in the hope that that'll kill the bacteria that are making you ill. So sometimes the doctor won't give you antibiotics because they'll have diagnosed that you've got a viral infection. So that means that even if they were to give you the antibiotics, there aren't the bacteria present for those antibiotics to act on. One of the other problems that them giving you antibiotics can lead to is that in your body we have lots of friendly bacteria. There's been a lot of advertising for yogurts and all sorts of things to do with that. And if we use antibiotics when we don't need them, those antibiotics can harm the friendly bacteria in our bodies, and that can have some other quite serious complications as well. So if you take antibiotics when you don't need them, they can be really harmful to the friendly bacteria in your body. And as well as having a personal impact on you and your body and your health, there's a wider impact because the more often we use antibiotics when we don't need them, the bacteria can learn to become resistant to them, and they can get better at fighting off the effects of those drugs. And that's a problem because then it means that in the future those same drugs will be ineffective when people take them. So certain people that have immune problems or are more prone to illness, such as the elderly, then become that little bit more at risk from the resistant bacteria. Antibiotic resistance is when the drugs that we used to use, these antibiotics to kill the bacteria, begin to no longer work. And this has emerged from the fact that we've been using antibiotics for 100 years, and over that time we've not used them correctly. So we've used them when we haven't needed them, and also perhaps not used them to the full extent we should have done, so we've not killed off all the bacteria when we wanted to. And that's led to a situation where the bacteria are getting really good at fighting off these drugs, and we're getting superbugs emerging. So illnesses that we used to treat quite routinely with antibiotics, we can now no longer treat. So antibiotic resistance is becoming a problem because as the bacteria are learning to fight off these drugs, the conditions we used to treat with antibiotics, we can no longer do so. So stuff that was once a routine operation or a routine injury that we would treat a patient with antibiotics to make sure they don't get ill, we can now no longer do that. And that means that what was once quite a simple illness can escalate really quickly. And that's particularly bad for the elderly or for people that might have weaker immune systems to begin with. So to stop antibiotic resistance, we've got to be really careful about when we use antibiotics. That means making sure that we're not using them when we don't need to, so that we can delay the onset of resistance in the bacteria. This means that we can buy ourselves some time in which we can either develop new antibiotics or come up with new ways of treating bacterial infections. And we can make sure that the existing antibiotics we've got stay useful for as long as we can possibly make them.